Heja. Mam nadzieję, że dźwięk z gry słychać. No, ostatnio miałem przygodę z brakiem dźwięku, ale dobra. Lecimy w takim razie do Ewrata. Lecimy do Ewrata. Zobaczmy jeszcze tak, co on powie.
Right to work!
Nie. Dobra, to idziemy. Co mi Maniana powie?
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you?
O, okazuje się, że ten szczur, co go odwiedziłem, ma lada kolekcję kolonialnych kubków.
Yeah, the janitor who gave me the key to his apartment said the guy's a bit of an asshole.
Koleś jest dupkiem. Widzisz, jak się wszyscy skupiamy na rasistowskich kubkach? Tego właśnie chce kasta rządząca. Człowiek z kolekcją zabawnych kubków nie może być aż taki zły. Mówię tylko, że miał dużo kubków.
Like I said before, I don't know much about this weasel, but the bossman said he's a real piece of work. Thanks for helping out, friend.
Kawał drania. Kogo to jest mieszkanie? Ciekawe. Kim jest dozorca? Jak zejść tam na dół? Nie wiem właśnie, nie wiem. A nie tędy. O co chodzi? Depozytowe oko halogenowe światło wpatruje się w ciebie, wydając niskie buczenie. No chodź, Kim. Co tak wolno idziesz? Ja wolę mieć taką kurteczkę jak ma Kim. Będziesz on ma kurteczkę. Siema, Leo.
Oh, hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. No trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. It's like that old saying goes.
To nie. No dobra, idziemy do środka. Hello. Aha, bo to są te schody. O, najgłupie schody.
Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair.
Otworzyłem drzwi, nazwałeś mnie panem Dubois, to nie. Mógłbyś mi pomóc? Nie. Porozmawiajmy o tej zaginionej broni. To znajduje się w tym kontenerze na zewnątrz pańskiego biura. O. Dobra. To najpierw lecimy od konteneru. Co znajduje się w kontenerze na zewnątrz pańskiego biura?
My dear Harry, there are literally millions of containers in this harbour. I couldn't possibly remember what's in all of them.
Jest w nim coś wyjątkowego. Był zaczepiony do kwalsunckiego żurawia.
Harry, you smooth-talking son of a bitch. Time is a precious resource, and I don't have enough of it to count containers with you.
Smooth talking. Maybe that's the way to go about opening the container. You should at least try convincing it.
Tak, otworzyłem drzwi, o których mówiłeś. Czy możemy teraz porozmawiać o morderstwie?
I'm very glad to hear that, Harry. One question. You didn't actually happen to stumble in and see what's inside the apartment, did you?
There is no way to sway this man in any direction. He is unsuggestible. and unswayable. Just tell the truth.
Zasugerować. Jest odporny na sugestie i perswazję. Powiedz mu po prostu prawdę. Nie było mowy o tym, że mam wchodzić do środka, więc nie wszedłem.
You're right, Harry. You only had to unlock the door, which you did. So we're all good here. Now let's get down to brass tacks. It's time for men like me and you to figure out who's killed who and why. Real police work is gonna start happening now. I promise you, Harry, this is gonna be good.
Była tam kolekcja... Słyszałem o powiązaniach między linczem i strajkiem. Chciałbym usłyszeć, co o tym wiesz.
By now, I'm sure you've figured out who the dead man was working for. The bad guys. Wild Pines. Sent to scare us. Another violent measure of the top hats against us flatcaps.
Słucham.
Harry, this strike is the culmination of many, many mistakes made by the Wild Pines group. They tried to shut the strike down by sending in armed mercenaries.
You mean our victim?
A security contractor? Can you imagine that? Workers standing in peaceful protest, united in the spirit of fellowship, and they send hired killers to mow us down with machine gun fire? I'm talking beasts, hardened killers from proxy wars in Yisut, Semenine, Saramoritsa, you name it, they've done it. Raping, killing, burning villages, killing little children for the Senorita Pineapple Company, Harry. Everything they did there, they brought over here. They want to turn Revachol into a third world slum. Honestly, the only thing they didn't do is kill the village elephant.
Zaraz, macie wioskowego słonia?
No, Harry, the elephant is metaphorical and so is the village, but the mercs and their brutality are very real.
Mów dalej.
Now, I haven't personally witnessed the brutalities out there. I have the luxury of staying in my container, you see. If I need to go somewhere, they just move my container.
Okej, taki sposób podróży, tak? Zaraz, przenoszą kontener?
Yes, I'm an old man, Harry. My legs aren't what they used to be. They lift my office with that big crane. It's actually very fun. You should try it. But enough about me and my fun container. The killers the company hired, I think there were 3 of them, all hardened commando types.
Jedna sprawa. Dać kryptologa. Żeby tu było od daty, kurczę. Rozbite okno, lustro. Gdzie jest rozbite okno? Tutaj, ja. Żarówka, kuno, lustro. Wymagający. Aha, to są te, co się nie udały, tak?
One of them got downright suicidal, getting drunk, violent, a little rapey. Even their own negotiator couldn't control him. That's your boy, the one who likes hanging out and trees.
By negotiator, you mean Joyce?
Harry, what you need to realize is, we dock workers are not pushovers. We got grit, Harry. This whole neighborhood does. Push us hard enough and we push back. And when we do, we push to kill.
Kto dokładnie zajął się tym odbijaniem?
There's a militant wing inside the Union. A group of people whose duties don't involve manual labor, but peacekeeping in the neighborhood, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Okay.
They're like you guys. Idealistic people who want to make sure bad things don't happen. And if they already have, well, punishment must follow.
So these idealists killed our victim?
One day Titus Hardy, leader of this peacekeeping faction, comes up to me and says, "Boss, socialist democratic fervor drove us to take it upon ourselves to kill this beast that was burdening the land." He probably worded it differently, but that was the idea. Sure sounded to me like they killed him. I gave them 2 weeks paid leave and told them to lay low to avoid retaliation.
Okej, ale ich wydał, ty tak.
Aren't you worried we might arrest them for this?
Oh, I'm not at all worried about that. These are not the kind of men who get arrested. They're Martinez boys, tough and gritty. I'd like to see the man who takes them in. Besides, I sent my lawyer girl to look after them.
If he's just boasting, then it sure doesn't feel like that to you. He's not worried.
Nie jest zmartwiony. Skąd wiesz, że najemników wynajęła firma transportowa? Wspomniałeś coś o prawniczce. Opowiedz mi o Titusie i jego ekipie. Ciekawa rozmowa. Na razie przerwiemy. Dobra, opowiedz mi o Titusie, Hardym i jego ekipie.
Oh, they are simply fine young men. All 7 of them. Exemplary union members. Always working to advance their position in the local socialist democratic movement. Core members. Old Theo used to run them, but things really kicked into gear when Titus took the reins and named the group after himself. Gotta love his initiative.
Interesting. Who's second in command?
They're almost all of them great guys, born leaders. Whatever happened, I'm sure they only had the best interests of Martinez and Revachol in mind.
No, nie odpowiedział na pytanie.
Work with them. Hell, interview them. But don't fight them. They really are just like you. Men who like beer, women, and some order on the streets.
Ebrat, spotkałem tych chłopaków Hardiego. Masz ich poprosić, żeby ze mną współpracowali? Wspomniałeś coś o prawniczce?
Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a firebrand socialist. Sometimes she scares me with her zeal.
Okej. Skąd wiesz, że najemników wynajęła firma transportowa?
How do I know? Let me tell you about these people. That's their MO. It's what they do. Last winter, some poor workers in Terminal E went on a little strike. The company sent in Sediment, a security contractor. The strike was over the workers' right to wear protective footwear, Harry. These guys turn up and start beating people. Tell you what, Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the same mercenary company after a little rebranding. And I'm sure as hell not surprised to see an army of scabs under my gates.
Czyli jedna strona jest skrajna i druga strona.
The scabs were organized by the security contractor?
Że łami strajku zorganizował wynajęty specjalista od bezpieczeństwa. Czyli to ogólnie, tak jak słucham, przynajmniej tego, co on mówi, to wychodzi na to, że strona Wild Pines jest skrajna, no bo jak o takie rzeczy jak buty ochronne muszą pracownicy walczyć, no to nieźle. Ale z drugiej strony tutaj oni jako komuniści, że chcą mieć jak to się nazywa, że chcą mieć dostęp, znaczy, że chcą być w zarządzie, w ogóle, że wszyscy pracownicy i takie rzeczy, to znowu w drugą stronę, bo to wtedy raczej nie będzie działać dobrze. Nie sądzę.
You said it. Hell, one of those guys looks big enough to take down that proverbial elephant. Boys like that don't just happen to show up during strikes.
A skąd? Coś było takiego? Tym razem nazwa firmy to Kernel. Wcześniej mogła brzmieć Sediment.
Of course. You're always one step ahead of me, Harry. I'm no genius. I'm in this position because people like me. By all means, Harry.
Chyba
What's on
niedobrze.
your mind?
Niedobrze, że to powiedziałem. Ciekawa rozmowa. Na razie przerwijmy.
Was it a good talk? I'm not sure we made much headway here. I was hoping we'd bust the case wide open. Heck, I even wanted to tell you what I really want to achieve with the strike. I don't know what happened, Harry. I wanted you to feel like Mr. Martin A's. And of course, I also wanted you to find your gun. But it's like I can't completely trust you.
Jeszcze?
Yes, Harry. It's like I can't fully trust you if you're not a man of the left. I want to, but I just can't.
He's been hurt too much in the past by men who aren't social democrats.
Mataczę. Masz rację, że mi nie ufasz. Dbam o siebie i jestem cwaniakiem. Mataczę. Organizuję sobie forsę. Okej. Co to ma niby znaczyć? Jestem bardziej po lewej niż ty. To znów jakiś pełen zepsucia spisek, co? Nie jestem ani po lewej, ani po prawej. Robię to, co dyktuje mi serce.
What does your heart tell you about your lost gun, Harry? Does it tell you to forget about it? Or do you think it wants to be found? I think it's lonely and cold. I think it wants to be found, and I have a proposal for you.
And what would this entail?
Once again, I require nothing unethical or illegal of you. You just need to get 2 little signatures on this piece of paper, and then mail it to my accountant in La Delta.
It depends. I don't think what we just got from Mr. Clare was very useful.
But he thinks it's your call.
As I said, it weighs on me heavily. But once we get really talking, well, I'm going to hand you the keys to Martin A's, and maybe even help you figure out who's behind this killing. I'm glad you asked, Harry. The Union is going to build a modern youth centre in Martin A's. It will be righteous. We're gonna get those teenagers off drugs and on roller skates. There's a nameless little street on the coast with some old houses around it. Most people have already signed. I just need 2 more signatures to get this mission off the ground, Harry. On the coast, Harry, across the canal. There's a cul-de-sac there, a little village they're calling it. A gloomy place. You'll find it. I trust your detective skills, Harry.
Water drips from the eaves. A woman looks at her freshly tarred skiff. There's a pair of cavalry boots under the fish in the box, and the wind howls like a vicious spirit.
They are just going to have to deal with the construction noise for 6 months, and then they'll be living like kings. Right next to a fancy new youth centre, designed by the best architects from Stella Marie.
Zdobycie 2 małych podpisów. Dobra. Jeśli tam trafię, to mogę o nie
You bring
poprosić.
joy to my heart, Harry. Such a pleasure to be working with you. Here. You need to get signatures from Isabel Sadie and Lillian Carter. The cul-de-sac is right past the pawn shop and across the canal. I hear there is some trouble with the waterlock, but they should fix it by Wednesday morning. Once you have the signatures, mail this to 13022 La Rocca in La Delta. Then we can talk about your gun. Most certainly, Harry. Nothing brightens my day like brainstorming these things with you. By all means, Harry, what's on your mind?
Porozmawiamy o mojej zaginionej broni.
Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. They're turning every stone, searching every playground, asking kids, grandmas, everyone. Your gun will be found, Harry. Let me assure you of that. It's just...
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage. Who knows? Only one thing is certain. If you work with him, you're going to get it back. And working with him might be the only way to do it.
Harry! I was only trying to be tactful. A lost gun is a dangerous thing. I can't have it around in my neighborhood.
To jest odpowiedź na nie dam się szantażować całą tą sprawą z bronią.
Kids could be playing gun roulette with it as we speak. Teenage gangs could be arming themselves. Get a hold of yourself, Harry.
I assure you we are working on locating the missing sidearm as well.
The lieutenant is concerned about the lost gun and feels that the fact you haven't prioritized looking for it is unfortunate, if inevitable, and doesn't put the RCM in a good light.
Excellent, Mr. Kitsuragi. That's excellent news. Looks like we have a friendly gun-finding competition on our hands.
Mógłbyś mi pomóc w ściągnięciu ciała z drzewa?
You might have noticed there's one hanging on a tree behind the hostel cafeteria.
Oh my. Don't take this question personally, but why would I get involved in this matter?
Mr. Clare, the man was hanged with a cargo belt. A steel-reinforced cargo belt. It's safe to assume the Union had something to do with the murder. Besides, getting the body down would benefit all of us. It's a stain on the neighborhood.
Właśnie, pas.
I can certainly see how having him up there might start affecting some real estate values. But of course, all joking aside, I am going to help you. Jean-Luc, the cop who bested you in physical combat is here, and he has a little dead body in a tree problem. Namely, he needs it to be taken down. Please extend him this courtesy. You can find Jean-Luc down at the gates, but you already knew that. Anyway, he's going to help you.
Jean-Luc on się nazywa, okej. Dobra. Co mi tu dał?
You take the legal documents out of the envelope. A 12 to 40 month construction period and the zoning plan in the addendum.
Spójrz na plan zagospodarowania przestrzeni.
The youth center cuts into the ocean like the bow of some great modern ship. Apparently, it's going to cover most, if not all, of the street and the square between the existing houses. It's 3 stories tall.
Kim, co ty o tym sądzisz?
I'm no property lawyer, but it looks fine. I like the print size. They're not selling or leasing anything. It's not a perfect solution, but...
Wzrusza ramionami. 42% to na razie nie, logika. Dobra. Zdobądź 2 podpisy dla Ewrata, okej. Idziemy sobie. 19. To lecimy teraz do naszego przyjaciela. Nic tu mi się nie zapala? Nie.
The file cabinet stands steady as ever. Remember, Leo, all items on the list, the drawers.
Okej. Chodź tu, kolego. Migdało głowy.
The unpromising race pupil returns.
Niezbyt obiecujący rasowy uczeń. Ewrat kazał, żebyś pomógł nam zdjąć ciało z drzewa.
So it was. You bested me in race combat to reach my superior, then had him give me an order. I salute your cunning, enemy. I will go and remove the body from the tree with my bare hands.
Nie, czy to dobry jest pomysł?
You're so noble, Measurehead.
But while I am gone, someone must stand guard on the bridge. That someone needs to be you. Both of you.
That would mean you're openly showing the people that you're taking the Union's side.
This is the uncomfortable result of not taking it on ourselves. I can live with a compromise.
Potrafię pogodzić się z tym kompromisem. Nieprzyjemny wynik tego, że nie zdejmiemy...
Listen to your little friend. He is wise in his childlike way. His mysterious race may yet prove fierce competition to my heroic haplogroup.
Ciekawe, czy może być jeszcze... czy jak ja tak mu odpowiem, że nie ma mowy, nie zrobimy tego, wycofaj się, czy to już mi zamknie... Ale tak, chwila, to oznacza pokazanie wszystkim, że przyjmujemy rozkazy od związku.
Yes, that is precisely what it means, homunculus. This is not going to happen any other way.
Mowy nie ma, nie zrobimy tego,
Fine. Goodbye. Return to your degeneracy.
Na razie. Co mi powie maniana?
Hola, Wandering Man.
Cyk, 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 cyk. Ojene, ojene, ojene. Trudna droga, trudna droga. Teraz tak, porozmawiajmy. No, siema Lizzie.
I've got nothing to say to you. Why are you wasting your time?
Aha.
It's you again. What is it?
Autozapis tutaj, ciekawe dlaczego. ...28. Chcę porozmawiać jeszcze o wieszaniu.
Again. Just get the dead guy's autograph.
Good one, Titus.
About fucking time.
Co by tu? Więcej wymyślić. No bez kitu. Kogo jeszcze mogę zapisać o tatuaże? Już wszystkich pytałem.
The man ponders his cooking utensil.
Oh, hello, dear.
Ty z tymi kryptytami.
To hell with it. Let's have more cryptids.
Of course, officers. Is there a particular cryptid you two are interested in learning about?
Aha, bo mam jeszcze ten długopis. Na długopisie od pani jest kryptyda. Wyciągnij długopis, który ci dała.
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid.
Takim. Ty też na pewno chciałbyś posłuchać o jeszcze jednej kryptydzie.
The lieutenant pauses, thoughtfully.
Fuck it. Let's have more cryptids.
Well, the cryptid on your pen is the kind green ape, half war story, half undiscovered species in the genus Homo.
Legenda wojenna?
Yes, it was reported by soldiers in South Safra during the war. The kind green ape would visit bunkers during the night, healing wounded soldiers with its saliva.
I mówiła pani też, że to podgatunek człowieka?
Indeed, there is. It's our closest relative among the cryptids. Same taxonomic family, different genus. Which is to say, the kind green ape is a species with which we share a common ancestor, and that evolved parallel to our own. Just like your partners.
Wiedziałem, kim nie jesteś człowiekiem. Głupota. Jestem pewien, że kim jest z tego samego gatunku to my. Sugerowanie czegokolwiek innego to głupota.
The lieutenant looks at you, pleasantly surprised.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to imply that Saolites are inferior to us in many ways. You are superior. For example, your earwax doesn't have a foul odor like ours does.
A tremendous evolutionary advantage, I'm sure. But perhaps we've had enough speculative biology for today.
Jaka jest najbardziej niebezpieczna?
Of Jeroma.
Gnom z Jeromy. Brzmi
Oh, yes.
przerażająco.
None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue.
Jak wygląda ta kryptyda?
It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and a gangly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very little species?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science.
Ostatnie słowa wypowiada sama do siebie. Okej. Jaka jest najmniejsza kryptyda?
Cryobacter catlensis.
Odpowiada bez wahania. Cryobacter catlensis?
Yes, a unicellular bacterium that was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Kotla, on the Boreal Plateau, by renowned geologist Caitlin Migenou some 70 years ago.
Co jest w niej takiego wyjątkowego?
Bacterial colony Migenou found had remained alive while frozen in ice for longer than anyone could reliably estimate. Certainly from before recorded history.
Jest bez wątpienia starsza od wszelkich źródeł historycznych.
Migenou disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study. No doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life.
Zaraz, ona ją sobie wstrzyknęła. O kurde, a tu się...
Yes, the bacteria had survived in the ice since times immemorial. It is not hard to see where she could have gotten the idea.
It's actually a little hard to see, but do go on.
Nie rozumiem, po co przedłużać sobie życie przez tą rękę. Ja też zamierzam życie wiecznie. Przygotowywała się na koniec czasów. Chciała być świadkiem uroczystości zmierzchu i je uwiecznić. Czyli, że gdzieś na świecie żyje nieśmiertelna geoleszka?
Yes, and she's quite mad, too. After she treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became increasingly eccentric and irascible, so that even her oldest friends were forced to pull away. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the Cryobacter catlensis coursing through her bloodstream.
I też nie wiadomo, gdzie jest oczywiście, nie? Jaka jest największa kryptyda?
That would be the giant of Coconur.
Jej ton zdaje się sugerować, że powinno to być zupełnie oczywiste.
The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Coconur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren wastes.
Zaraz, jak to dziwne światło?
Mirage or psychogenous luminance.
Wyraźnie nie ma zamiaru ciągnąć tego tematu. A jak duży jest dokładnie?
No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost a third of your field of vision.
Okej. Jest niebezpieczny?
The towering luminosity of Coconur is a bad omen in local folklore. Some say it's a fata morgana, others, fate unimaginable.
Hooey. No animal can be that large. It's a mirage.
That's what makes it so peculiar. A species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. The giant of Coconur must be the largest animal the planet can support. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Coconur Desert might allow the creature to grow to these gargantuan sizes.
Great. This is great shit. You need
Potrzebujesz tego więcej. O rany, nigdy mi nie dość tych kryptyd.
I'm glad you like them, but I'm not really one to tell you about all of them. You should ask my husband if you get the chance. He's the real expert.
Dobra, na tę chwilę to wszystko, proszę pani. Yeah. No to skończyliśmy historię kryptyd. Rozłożoną w sumie chyba na 2 czy 3 razy, ale... Wygląda na to, że ja muszę... Bo co mam więcej zrobić? Stać w miejscu i czekać?
Does Kuno care? Kuno does...
Może iść powiedzieć mu o tych... Dobra, jeszcze raz pójdę do Ewrata. Powiem mu o tych krokach, zobaczymy co to da. Ale jak ja mu powiem, to on będzie wiedział coś na temat moich tych. Dobra, kid.
The unpromising, babe. See that they stay here the whole time.
The woman's gaze follows Measurehead as he leaves.
So, you guys are like cops or something? Look at him. His craniometric perfection. Are you cops or what? Cool. I like men with guns and power. I'm Katya, by the way.
You hear that? That sound. He's breaking something.
Yeah, Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Everott's lapdogs! Is this where it's at now? The RCM is for sale!
Spoken by a mercenary pretending to be a worker.
A shrill laughter interrupts you, echoing across Martinez. It's Kuno. The man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him.
No, tylko ciekawe, gdzie teraz to ciało jest, tak?
The corpse has been removed from the tree. Stand down and congratulate yourself. You have sided with Ray's victory today. And what you had to do was to become a Union man for all to see.
No, myślę, że popełniłem błąd, ale...
Hola, Wandering Man.
Right to work!
Oh.
The corpse lies on the ground among the remains of an absolutely demolished pinewood branch. It's gently laid on one side.
No, to leży. Uczci to w nieco bardziej powściągliwy sposób.
Mr. Measurehead has done a good job. Nothing is too broken or compromised. The victim is ready for a field autopsy. Yes, 1. Investigation of the scene. 2. Initial examination of the victim. 3. Field autopsy. 4. Transportation of the body to the morgue. We are on number 3.
The fuck are they on about?
Cop's gonna cut his shit up!
Nie mamy do tego kogoś innego? Lekarza?
No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain. From autopsy to cleanup, to social work, everything.
Chwila, honorowy stopień detektywa?
An honor and a burden attached to your rank once you've proven yourself able. Usually after 5 to 8 years of field work. Mine is lieutenant detective.
Tak, czuję się jak detektyw.
You are. Your station would not have assigned you on this case if you weren't. Now...
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Przede wszystkim, czym dokładnie jest autopsja polowa?
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
Klaśnij odzianymi w rękawiczki dłońmi. No to do dzieła.
There truly is a time for everything, even for yellow gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity.
Nie rozumiem, co masz na myśli.
I mean when I need you to. Until then, I should handle physical contact, and you should take notes.
Okej. Po prostu to wypełniamy, prawda? Pokaż mu czerwony formularz autopsji polowej w swoim notatniku.
That's right.
Kiwa głową.
You knew it because you inspected your ledger. The lieutenant is relieved you know the protocol.
Otwórz swój notatnik na formularzu autopsji polowej.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with...
Rozpocznij. 1. Asystent.
That's you.
Pierwsze pytanie. A ja już nie znam odpowiedzi.
Not an energetic start to an autopsy, I agree.
Pig's messed up. Kuno feels pity.
Just leave it empty, officer.
Zostaw to pole puste.
The corpse lies there, indifferent to your retrograde amnesia. The next box says...
Następnie pole tytułem 2. Numer sprawy koronera.
KK57-0803.0815.
Zapisz to.
Next.
Imię.
We've heard the nom de guerre. Lely. It's better than nothing. Write it down.
Zapisz Lely. Nom de guerre.
What's next? Date of birth?
Data urodzenia. Kiwnij głową.
NA.
Brak. Wiek.
Roughly 50.
Wpisz około 50.
The corpse looks ageless, like meat on a hook.
Rasa.
Mondial.
Zapisz to.
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Płeć. Okej. Wykrzykuje energicznie mały potwór.
Male.
Pigs can have sex.
Mężczyzna.
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
Data śmierci.
We're still going with March 4th, 51.
Wpisz 3 marzec 51 roku.
What else? 9. Body identified by... is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens, motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
Ślady upozorowania. Punkt 11.
None. At least not after the initial examination.
A strange word. Treatment.
Nie jestem tego pewien, czy ślady nie sugerują, że został powieszony? Zgoda, brak upozorowania.
A silent nod. The lieutenant places his gloved hand on the corpse's chest, as if in preparation.
We should start the post-mortem.
Obracamy stronę.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copy paper tries to answer why.
Oględziny wewnętrzne. Jeszcze raz. Trup nie czuje dłoni Kima na swojej piersi, ale wchodzi już w celową interakcję z otoczeniem. Zbiór pól i list na czerwonym papierze z przebitką próbuje odpowiedzieć na pytanie dlaczego. Oględziny zewnętrzne, podsumowanie. Oględziny wewnętrzne, podsumowanie. Opis uszkodzenia ciała, podsumowanie. Oględziny zewnętrzne, podsumowanie.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodin, I think. Let's see.
Obraca zwłoki na bok, aby sprawdzić metkę bielizny.
See, it's happening.
Babrodin, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
Zapisz to.
The rest of the clothes have been removed post-mortem by scavengers in order to get to the victim's ceramic armor. Officers are in search of the missing pieces. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
Zapisz to.
Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single continuous tattoo resembling a microelectronical circuit board. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a cargo lashing belt around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end.
Zapisz to.
Well nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age, about 50. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature, below freezing.
Zapisujemy.
Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
Włosy krótkie, zaczesane do tyłu. Zapisz krótkie i jasno-brązowe.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation.
Opowiadają ugryzieniu drapieżników. Zapisz to.
Ligature mark.
Stwierdza porucznik i wyciąga z kieszeni mały, składany nóż, naprężając pas drugą ręką. Zaczyna przecinać nożem poliester. Smród jest nie do wytrzymania. Po chwili staje się oczywiste, że materiał nie da się w ten sposób przeciąć.
The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. the chain cutters.
Dobrze, że mamy te nożyce do metalu. Wyciągnij nożyce z gumowymi rączkami.
Always good to think ahead. Now...
Pokazuje pas zaciśnięty na szyi Denata.
We need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See? My pig is gonna fuck his head off.
Jest taka obawa.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
Poszukaj dobrego miejsca do cięcia.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east. The knot is the weak spot. The chain cutters fit in there, steady now, like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose.
No dobra. No to przecinamy pas.
After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt together. You squeeze the rubber handles together, sweat forming on your brow.
Dociśnij.
Snap. The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck.
Porucznik, który przyklęknął przy zwłokach, przesuwa palcem wzdłuż ciemnoczerwonej pręgi na szyi, aż dociera nim do przerwy.
As it ought to. This is where its grip on the curdled meat is gentlest, pulling up.
Taśma ciągnie się w górę.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters.
Zapisz to.
Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia...
Ściąga slipy mężczyzny.
No! It's gonna happen, see?
I fucking knew it!
This is clearly what they've been waiting for, ever since the autopsy began. The lieutenant is trying to make it as boring as possible.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
Zapisz to i przejdź dalej.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Bullets have bitten little pieces out of him. It must have been excruciating, especially the hip. Before you is a temple of pain that knew little tenderness in life.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
To ciało żołnierza, najemnika.
We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars.
Zapisz to.
Last item. Hands.
Bierze prawą dłoń Denata w swoje ręce i uważnie ją ogląda, a później postępuje tak samo z drugą.
Hands are clean. No sign of a recent struggle.
Spodziewaliśmy się jakiś?
I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment.
Zapisz to.
Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next?
Opis uszkodzeń ciała, podsumowanie.
I'm afraid we can't continue before we've gone through both the external and internal examination first.
Okay. Oględziny wewnętrzne, podsumowanie.
Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
You don't even have a joke.
Nie, zapisz brak danych.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
Przygląda się bliżej obrzękniętej jamie ustnej, mrużąc oczy z powodu wydobywających się z jej wnętrza wyziewów.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
Okay.
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable.
Zapisz to.
Respiratory system.
Zgarbiony, jakby w trakcie modlitwy, zaczyna rozwierać szczęki Denata. Na chwilę przerywa, aby zastosować większą siłę. Używa do tego obu rąk.
Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen. Hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
From here, it looks as though the clown-faced man is screaming. The tendons of his jaw are torn apart. Hyoid ripped from the force of the lieutenant's hands. No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like you're about to throw up again, straight in that mouth of his.
To wybór.
No, you don't. You can keep it in. You can keep anything in.
Okej. Zapisz to.
Hepatobiliary. NA.
Zapisz brak danych.
Same for toxicology and serology. NA.
Zapisz brak danych.
Cardiovascular. The body exhibits lividity in the lower extremities, feet, hands and neck. Visually consistent with the hanging.
Zapisz to.
Gastrointestinal.
Wydaje westchnienie na myśl o zbliżającym się końcu oględzin. To ostatni punkt na liście. Rozgląda się, po czym znajduje odchody na ziemi.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voilà.
Dotyka przy tym zdętego brzucha Denata. Zapisz to, pomijając, voilà.
What's next on the list?
Opis uszkodzeń ciała, skoro już dokładnie obejrzeliśmy ciało.
Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 feels. Leave a 4th one too.
Mamy ugryzienia, kontuzje głowy i klatki piersiowe oraz zasienie wokół szyi. Potrzebujesz 3 pól. Zostaw też 4. Dobra, ugryzienia.
Head, chest and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted.
Zapisz to.
And your opinion, officer?
Uszkodzenie niebędące przyczyną śmierci pośmiertnie.
Agreed. Next injury?
Uszkodzenie ciała.
So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Uszkodzenie niebędące przyczyną śmierci pośmiertne.
Right. Next.
Zasienienie wokół szyi. Zakończ sekcję zwłok.
A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured. The cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Zapisz to.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible.
Opinia rana śmiertelna.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned. But it's a start. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over.
Co teraz? Jak?
I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg.
Wyrwij kopię stron z opisem sekcji zwłok.
Processing.
Porucznik raz jeszcze spoglądał na Donata, a później na kawałek czerwonego papieru w swojej ręce i znów na zwłoki.
He's thinking, did I miss something?
Powiedz mi coś o Marlaku.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams.
Spróbujmy mu zdjąć buty.
I thought we decided to leave it to processing. Let's not turn this into some kind of circus.
Damn it. This is turning into some sort of mega puzzle.
No dobra. No nie mam. Kto to wiedział? Zapakujmy go i zabierzmy. Pozwól porucznikowi zabrać ciało bez dalszych oględzin.
Okay. I need a little help for carrying him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can take care of the rest.
There go those beautiful enamel boots. He will never own the full set now. May they rest in processing.
No trudno.
Oh well, in another lifetime.
Co mam zrobić w międzyczasie?
Continue working here. The locals, the case, or attend to your own business. I will meet you downstairs in the whirling in rags tomorrow morning 7:30 sharp.
Pewnie.
This means Lieutenant Kisuragi will leave the party until tomorrow morning. You're free to do side tasks and even the main case, though it might be more difficult. If you have nothing to do, read books or sit on the bench on the plaza.
Umieśćcie ciało w worku i zaciągnijcie je do powozu motorowego. Cyk. No dobrze. O, i mamy autozapis, spoko. Tak wyglądały oględziny ciała. Teraz zacznę następne nagranie na pewno od tego, żeby pójść do tego faceta, do tego mieszkania. Tam, do tego faceta, który palił papierosa w poprzednim dniu. W dniu pierwszym. I zobaczymy, co on nam powie. A teraz będę się żegnał. Mam nadzieję, że spoko się czytało i oglądało. I do następnego. Cześć!